What's the single big mistake you see parents make today than what they did 20 years ago?
There is a lot of confusion between the different methods of school. You have to understand that all the four developments, it's not only the ABCD that will, take you through high school.
What are the first 1,000 days of a child's life? Like, what are you expecting from 0 to 2?
Crucial years of development because 90% of the brain develops. Most of the children are being carried. You have to have word power bank according to age. I have seen children who cannot construct a perfect sentence at age 4. Too many parallel ancillary things going on beyond school.
Yeah.
And why? There are so many children over the years. Some are shy, some have behavioural issues, some have attention issues, some have speech issues. They are asking for help. Today the trend is to move from one school to the other school to the other school.
But do you feel like kids need to be tested? That was Zarna Doshi. She's been teaching children since 1983, before most of us watching this were even born. She started a preschool in one room with 14 kids. Today, she's shaped over 1,000 children through Little Palms, one of Mumbai's most respected preschools. But here's why I wanted to have this conversation right now. Every week, I get DMs from parents asking me the same question. Is my child ready for school? How do I go about choosing the right preschool? How do I get to wean my child? About separation anxiety when the child is about to start going to school. And of course, the one that nobody says out loud. Am I already ruining my child by doing too much or too little? Mrs. Doshi has seen, or like we popularly call her Zarna Auntie. I think that's the right way I'm going to address you through this episode.
I prefer that too.
Has seen 43 years of parents walk through her door. She knows exactly which mistakes repeat generation after generation. And some of what she told me today genuinely surprised me, especially what she said about reading, writing, weaning, the separation, and of course, why and how we supposedly may be raising a very fragile generation. To me, this seems a little bit of a walk back memory lane, because my daughters went to Little Palms preschool, and Zarna Auntie and me share a very, very close bond since the last 16 years now. Wow, it's been a long journey. This is not a fluffy play is important conversation. This is a 43-year practitioner telling you exactly what your child needs and what you need to stop doing. So tune in and let's begin. You've been doing this now for 43 years. What's the single big mistake you see parents make today than what they did 20 years ago?
The single big mistake is one, parents today are very anxious. From our times to today, we have many more schools. So there is a lot of confusion between the different methods of school, going to which kindergarten should we go to. And another thing, I think, because they're anxious, they also tend to be overprotective. Very, very overprotective. So that by itself kind of, lowers a child's joy for learning.
Right.
So I would advise parents to, when you choose a school, you're choosing learning. It's not the school. The first journey of learning is what you have to look at. And so be as calm as possible for your child to enjoy his journey in learning. These are the fundamentals, the very foundation which go ahead and set the later, for the academics to come in.
Right. Why are we so anxious as parents today?
Well, that's a good question. I cannot really pinpoint, but there's too much of information.
Are we dealing with the paradox of choice?
One, too much of information from various areas of, doctors or teachers, or too much, where back then we did not have too much information and we just went by our gut. And probably when I was choosing my child's school, I definitely studied the curriculum. And I wanted the process of developments, all these developments which are so very important, whether the school sets in systems for higher skill sets. And that's why you choose a school and then you're calm. There's overstimulation, too many parallel ancillary things going on beyond school.
Yeah.
And why? At this stage, why? Because if there's overstimulation, the brain is pea-sized.
Yeah.
Can it take in that much? When there's understimulation is where you're not hand-holding the child. Again, there is a problem. So I would say take the middle path.
Yeah.
Do the research on your own. Kind of feel secured.
I love that you say that, because I know when I was choosing a preschool for both Anya and Akshata, I think I was 3 months just before my maternity leave was ending. Every preschool that I was actually considering, I actually went physically to that school before my maternity period ended. I spoke to parents, I spoke to the teachers, I spoke to the founders, I went inside. It just had to instinctively tell me, do my value systems and the curriculum that I'm looking for align?
You have to study the curriculum. You have to understand that all the 4 developments, the emotional, the social, the motor and cognitive, go hand in hand.
Right.
It's not only the ABCD that will, take you through high school. You need all these developments in place, whether the school is child-centric, whether your child is nurtured. Where I say nurtured is looked after, because children come from different backgrounds, different parents, different DNAs, different environments, and they also come with a baggage of their own emotions. Are the teachers sensitive? Are the heads of the school understanding? And more than anything, forget the place, forget the the decor. I would look at one thing today: solid values, solid roots.
You spoke about the 4 different developments, and I'd love to say, what are the first 1,000 days of a child's life? Like, what are you expecting from 0 to 2? What should the parent do? What should they focus on? And I'm saying school later. I think the development, and I cannot have you and not speak about child development, to understand what are we really looking at in those first early days of life.
First and foremost, when you're having your child, it is said, right? Be calm, read music, have a very joyful, happy environment. So that is the first step. Second step is the way you think. You're not anxious when you go for your checkups, etc. Everything is, your internals are normal. Your nutrition is, you've got the right nutrition, etc. So why am I telling you this? 0 to 5 years are crucial years of development, because 90% of the brain develops. So more the stimuli, more are the neural connections. This has been read over by me. I mean, I'm not a doctor. So, and more the cell multiplication. So if you are a calm, quiet mother, you're a reader, you have music around you and happiness around you, you will have a beautiful, healthy child.
Right.
And then, of course, once they step out and you look for a school. Again, as I repeat, look for a school that understands your child. There are so many children over the years who some are shy, some have behavioral issues, some have attention issues, some have speech issues. They are asking for help.
Right.
They're literally asking for help. So I would tell parents, support them. Understand that I would not call them children. I would call them little people. That little one is standing right in front of you with his hands raised and asking you, Ma, I need your help.
Right.
And that's what I would tell all parents.
Right. And now that we're raising this generation, which you say is, and I concur, which is very overprotective, how do you see repercussions on essential skills like reading, writing, the lack of play, and how do you see it shape out in school when children are coming into schools?
Right. So, Mansi, I would tell you that a joyful, happy child definitely benefits in the long run. He learns better. And a nervous child learns temporarily because everything gets affected. And, at this stage, if you see red flags, it's very important to get the parents to understand and accept that there are issues and do look at them because it directly affects higher skill sets. Children are beautifully imperfect, right? They don't know. They don't know.
Yeah.
So if you come to school, and we do have cases now, argue with the teachers who are trying to help your child, who is the loser?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it is the child because he's nervous. He has no coping mechanism. See, this is one thing where I feel children should have life skills and soft skills, which are amiss. In this race of learning and implementing cognitive, all their emotions, their social skills, their developmental skills. Today I have not read my notes on motor, how we had a doctor come in and explain to us, he's a spine pediatrician, and how motor skills affect cognitive skills.
Lovely.
I had him come and talk to the parents because most of the children are being carried. Because when they are nervous, what is it that we do?
Yeah.
We carry them. We hug them, oh my God, and we don't leave them.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting down and saying, okay, calm down. It's okay.
Yeah.
And then tell me what is bothering you. And then comes cognitive. So if these don't align, reading, writing, spelling we don't do at the kindergarten. But all of that gets affected.
Right.
Because a nervous child learns only temporarily. Again, a badly behaved child. I would use that word. No child is bad in my eyes. They're beautiful, but they need to be told what is right and what is wrong at home.
Right.
Home first, school next.
Yeah.
So how you handle your child at home, all that trickles out into school.
True. Why is play so fundamental to children?
Once we just finished a topic on summer. Okay, now summer as a season, we have the sun, but for children, seasons are all abstract, right? When you go into winter, spring, autumn, they're all abstract. Summer, of course, we know it. But how did we work on it? So what we do, we role play the entire season. Now the assembly is a little story on how this farmer was cursing the sun all the time. Just now we're all doing it because it's so hot. But he's cursing the sun. Mr. Sun, I have to get up in the morning and it's so hot and I'm sweating and I can barely work. My animals are, tired, etc., etc. So Mr. Sun got very angry and he got upset And he said, I'm going to teach this farmer a lesson. He just chose to disappear. And there was no day. So the animals didn't get up, the farmer didn't get up for days to come. And one fine day, the farmer woke up in the middle of the night and he said, hey, what's going on? He looked out of the window and he said, oh dear, what's the matter with my crops, my plants, my animals? And he was feeling so sad that the sun was not out. So he decided to send each animal to coax the sun, to cajole Mr. Sun and say, please shine again. Of course, the sun said no. Then there was a clever rooster and he said, you know, Chacha, farmer, Mr. Farmer, I'll go out and please the sun. So he said, okay, last try. And the rooster went and said, cock-a-doodle-doo. And the sun came out, shining happily again. So when you do these kind of assemblies, what I get out of the children? Emotional, they're acting. Okay? Maybe I'm narrating or another teacher is narrating. So they come out. Animals. Animals, sounds. Male, female. So you have all the farm animals. Motor skills, movement. Cognitive skills. You've done a community helper, farmer. You've done animals. You've done crop. You've done plant. So you, through play, are getting receptive and expressive language directly and organically for the children. And at the same time, they don't know that they're, we're talking about hardcore sun. Now the follow-up. So when I say the worksheets, the cognitive must follow your lesson. All lessons must be understood. Children must comprehend a theme to do worksheets. So you can have the yellow sun color, you can have lacing, you can have the beginning sound, the ending sound, you can have the rhyming words, sun, bun, run, gun, and you can give an odd one and say crop. So tell me which is so you can play around with cognitive. You can count the number of suns and songs on the sun. So after which the whole week was role play. Summer activities, summer, we had snacks, summer, the cooking, making lemonade. We had a little cafe where the children made lemonade, had watermelon juice, made sandwiches, etc. And we had dress-ups and all of that.
Right.
So, and then there was a summer carnival.
Yeah. Do you want to also talk about how the play and the fine motor, gross motor works, and how that is if that is not developed, then how the writing is impacted?
It affects writing completely because these muscles are not strong, right? So through play, as I said, supposing you're coloring the sun, this is the movement. Do not restrict it because these muscles, if you kind of start building them earlier than required, maybe 5, 6, 7, when they go to the main school, they have to write a lot. So it's the pre-readiness to writing is small motor. And for small motor, you need large motor as well. They go hand in hand. So through beading, through lacing, through puzzles, through opening your snack boxes, simple things at home, to picking up your toys, to putting them in, everything that requires these fingers and these muscles. Not early writing patterns. Very, very important, but it depends on when the school introduces all of this. At LP, we introduce it around the LKG level, and then it goes to UKG and transition. By transition, last 2 months before they leave for Cathedral or any of these high schools.
Read and her friend can. What do you tell that parent?
I would tell the parent just first the oral language is weak. Means you are concentrating more on concepts, but your oral language has to be solid. Whereby, when I say oral language, is the English themes, these themes are universal. They are across the board, I mean abroad, here, etc. When I say oral language, supposing we are doing community helpers, I'll give you an example. And we, more than community helpers, I think a better one would be the fire engine. Where how do we do emergency vehicles? I'm telling you about receptive language. Is the first thing is the field trip. What I see, I remember the most. So the fire engine, fire truck, its characteristics, the fireman, all of the language has to come in. And then the expressive language is what you retain. You have to have a word power bank according to age. I have seen children who cannot construct a perfect sentence at age 4, and that will affect their reading completely. I think they would realize is they have to work with the child themselves. So you will make sure your phonemes, your phonic sounds, your letters are absolutely perfect. Without the knowledge of alphabet, 26 letters make the alphabet, reading, writing, spelling are affected directly with your oral skills. Because if I'm talking about the sun, what is the first sound that you hear? S. What is the last sound that you hear? What is the center sound that you hear? Ah. Sun, bun, run, pun, gun. Now suddenly I put in a different word. So if it is rote, you get what I'm saying, and it's not understood, then it's pouring water over a duck's back. Typically what happens is everything is pushed towards the end, whereas I would say start from the bottom slowly at your play school level. Don't say now this is only play school, no. Kindergarten no longer is Lalaland. Everything begins very early, whichever kindergarten you choose. I mean, there's no right or wrong. But for me, I think learning organically, naturally, through fun, through songs, through rhymes, through stories, through assemblies, builds all these skills, including reading, writing, spelling.
Is that why children like to read the same story again and again? Retention, repetition, recall.
They do, and they know what's going to happen, right? So it makes them less anxious.
Yes.
Definitely, when there is a routine makes them less anxious. That's what I've seen.
Yeah.
They know what's going to happen next.
Right.
But I don't think that's the best thing to do. Okay, I normally tell the parents, one book of their choice. You want Goldilocks and the Three Bears, whatever you want. But the next is according to the English theme your school is doing. And more than that, the environmental exposure is just fabulous.
What's the best way to get into the process of weaning? Because I remember when my kids were in school and you had a whole session on weaning, which I think was just so important. Could you give us like an extract of that? Why weaning and how weaning?
Without hesitation, I will kind of harp on this statement, is weaning should be done only after age 2. Because mentally, emotionally, socially, physiologically, physically, the child is not ready to separate from the caretaker. So what we do is 1 week at the play school, mother toddler is with the parent, so there's no question. At the play school for 1 week, if you remember, I either comes in, a parent, a mother, and then the father, and I tell them, you have to stay for the whole day. There's no half duty. Because again, the child gets anxious, right? And then at 2, I have a meeting with parents telling them what weaning means. Weaning is scary. Okay? It's abstract for a child. A child feels that he's never going to see an adult, the mother or the aide in his life. That's the feeling he has. Now, I tell the parents, please remain calm. First, are you ready to separate yourself physically? Only then I can separate them emotionally. But if you're going to peep, your aide is going to say, no, this, that is going to hang out of the door. The child feels very anxious. So, first, you have to ready yourself. Okay, it's time to wean. It's the best time to wean. You should not stay more than that, because then the child feels very in control. So it has to be done very slowly. We call the parents, we tell them 1 hour before our weaning, he comes to school, do not feed him, because if he throws up, right? We hold the maids down because there are separate different ways children cry. When they hold their breath, there is no way I will keep the child by himself. If he throws a tantrum, I'll allow the child to roll. It's okay. If they cry, a teacher sits with them, with blocks, with whatever toys, soft toys, puppets, whatever he wants, and allows him to cry. We have to tide with emotions and not get anxious as teachers. Then is the don't have any parallel classes, because there is an adjustment to be made everywhere, right? A teacher is a teacher is a teacher. Go there, do your work out. Now, what if the child doesn't like that teacher? There have been times when there are meltdowns before going to these classes. If they are thumb sucking, if they are on the bottle, if they are with their nappies, do not disturb them. Do not try to do multiple things, because let this process of weaning be as gradual, as comfortable for the children. And they do cry.
And do you want to talk about how to handle that separation anxiety?
How to handle it is one by diverting them, okay, giving them things like clay, giving them soft toys, puppets, carrying them. Some of them just, when they don't have speech, they put their hands up and they say, carry me. So for a while, the didis or the teachers will carry them, sit with them. There are blocks, there's a play area where at least for a week, a lot of them are sitting. And slowly, we start integrating them. And I tell the teachers, if you're unable to go through your English themes, don't worry, just do the songs, and then integrate them via snack time, during free play time, and then you see in a month's time, in 15 days, they're just up and about, and they're all integrated in class, barring a few. Parent should be very calm, not anxious. Secondly, trust the people who are handling your school. Trust the philosophy. If you are so uncertain, speak to counselors and do collaborate with school. Help your child. This is the time he needs help, and do not bring in any negativity. Where I'm saying speak negatively about the teachers or the schools, because that goes into the subconscious mind of the child. Don't cry. Stop crying. No, I want to cry at this moment. So allow it. There should be no emotional resilience where you suppress emotions, because the moment you suppress them, they'll burst. They'll burst. At every stage, there are a different bag of emotions. Right? And this is the main. So if you've sorted your child between 0 to 5, and he has an ability to express himself, whether he's sad, he's happy, he's uncomfortable, he's afraid, and go back to the parent and speak, that's the best thing you could have done for your child.
Lovely. There's so many kids who at this stage start biting, hitting, pushing. What's the reason, and how can a parent address it?
The reason being, biting is nervousness.
But biting somebody else?
Biting somebody else, sometimes they're teething.
Yeah.
And their reflexes are very fast. Or they've not been corrected at home. We do have children, behavioural issues. And we do call the parents and tell them to look into the matter. But if they don't, it continues.
Okay. You've seen children go through different curriculums, whether it's Montessori, whether it's play-based, or different pedagogies, whether it's Montessori, play-based, academic-focused preschools. Which ones do you think will do better 5 years later?
Mansi, there's no real right or wrong in any method. Each has its advantages and its disadvantages, but I deal with play-based.
Yeah.
And I can't begin to tell you that, when we say khel mein, they're learning through play. They're learning, as I gave you that example. And they love it. Because what does play-based teaching do really? It increases their emotional skills. They have to wait. They have to take turns. They cannot grab. So that is one thing. At the nursery level, all this is going on. But as they grow older and older, they are able to share. They're able to take turns. And out of those little cookies, if you remember, we have this lovely dollhouse and kitchenette. They make their sandwiches and they'll come up, Zarna auntie, they know I love chai. So they'll come up with a cup of tea, they'll make little toasts and So that is the emotional. There's emotional regulation, if I put it in the correct words. And then you have your social skills, the sharing, the socially acceptable behavior, which they learn definitely, not throwing, not, putting it in your mouth, which is a no-no, right? It's not hygienic. Then you have your motor skills. You've got to move. You've got to handle things. You've got to go and pick up things. You've got to, you're using your muscles, right?
Yeah.
You're going to the kitchenette, you're walking. There's movement. Children learn through movement. There are 4 ways of teaching children. Because all children, as I said, are not growing at the same pace, right? Their EQ, SQ, TQ. When I say that, I mean the developmental milestones and cognitive. The first one is visual, which is perception skills, that is flashcards, your images, your paperwork. The second is auditory, listening, which is very important, and that is best developed through songs, rhymes, stories, puppetry, assemblies, as I mentioned, all of that. And when I do a lesson, I tell the children one thing. The biggest gift, sweeties, you can give yourself is listening. So wrap that gift tightly, pop up your ears and zip your mouths and look straight at me, because sound travels straight. So I ready them for a lesson before I begin a lesson at all levels, and you'd be surprised as to how receptive children are. Okay, and then there is movement, kinesthetic. Your dancer movement, your what else? Your drama, your anything, your role playing, everything needs movement.
Right.
So that is movement. And finally, there is visual perception, their creativity and art and creativity. Like I mentioned, all lessons that we do, we have a backup.
Right.
Like we do this lesson, I've done this story on Me Too and the mango tree. Now the way I will do it and the skills that I will bring out at the nursery level are completely different from the skills that I will bring out at the topmost level. With Me Too and the mango tree, it's about a little parrot, which is like, you know, one of the standard stories at Little Palms, and the children love it. So we just did it in summer, where this little parrot, Me Too, is looking for a mango. So parrot chick, the colors, the beak, all of that comes in, right? And then he's looking for this ripe mango. So he sees a ripe mango, raw mango, big mango, small mango. So there are lots of things that I bring out, your English, your prepositions, your verbs, your nouns, the works, right from the bottom.
Right. You know, there's always this, every parent has a dream school that they want to send their child to. And schools are checking, the big schools are checking for preparedness, and therefore they want a question. And then there is this big thing of the interviews that happen. Has that gotten better over time? How does a child really prepare for that 5-minute interview? That what are one, let me break that down. One, what are the big schools checking for? And second, how can a parent prepare their child for that big school interview?
So the big schools are not checking for anything that the child cannot do. Okay, so they're checking for all the pre-readiness skills that should be built in this period. Now the schools are taking in the children much earlier. So the prerequisite skills are also limited. It's not that they need to read, they need to write, they need to do anything and retain so much that they cannot retain. So if you ask me, by 4.5, you will have the entire gamut of preschool readiness. And the first things parents should look at is the EQ and the SQ. Second is the process. Third is the personality of the child. It's an ongoing process, Mansi, so there is no right or wrong school because there's no perfect school.
I know that there is, you know, when the big school results come out, which is typically between December to March, I'm assuming that's the same timeline that goes on now. A lot of parents feel disappointment if your child does not make it to the IT school. What would you tell to those parents?
Well, they do feel disappointed, but I tell them that there is a school for everyone. And whichever school, wherever your child goes and he's happy, learning is taking place. And today the trend is to move from one school to the other school to the other school, which is a big no-no because you're cutting roots. You're not allowing the child to really hone all those skills.
How do things that actually happen at home impact a child at school? What are the typical observations that you've seen in parents where, in children, where something becomes extended or something gets delayed, or, you know, like you said, learning becomes temporary? What's have you seen in your experience?
One is if there is a troubled background, okay, because in the past I have handled separations, I have handled mother-in-law, daughter-in-law issues, or in-law issues, handled when a sibling comes in or they're changing residence, etc. Children do go through a lot. They become anxious, they become nervous, they become bedwetting sometimes, stammering, don't want to resist going to school, and later on. So what what builds up within the subconscious is fear. That's the first emotion that builds up, fear, anger. Where the child also, when they're very pampered, they're bubble wrapped. There's no exposure, there's no experience, there is no, what I say is allowing them to make mistakes. Where there is a lot of control, that is also problematic, because what happens later on is resistance to learning, ability to focus when the mind is so disturbed, right? They cannot focus during school, reluctance to go to school, poor self-esteem, and all that, fear of failure, lying, cheating, all that comes out.
I'm going to come to the big elephant in the room, which is screens. Screens and schools. How has it impacted kids as young as 8 months who come into the mother-toddler or the parent-toddler program for you? And then how has it impacted learning? So what are you seeing at a behavioral level? What are you seeing at a learning level? And what are you seeing at a social interaction level?
So first and foremost, at LP we don't have screens.
Lovely.
This is one thing we have kept. There's no need for a screen, because the light of the screen, the pictures of the screen, everything is dancing, okay? And the children are not able to focus. Yeah, the auditory also, the sounds at this stage is all one-on-one.
Yeah.
So when you have a teacher speak to you with looking at you, the children will hone learning more than the screen. But yes, at the end of the month, or if there is a topic that we need a screen for, then we'll show them a little bit like planets or something which is not very, we don't have that many aids, etc. But otherwise, screen, you've got to balance it. Honestly, now, we don't have a screen at all in school, and we've kept it that way for years. But with the renovation, probably we might have a screen where I would do a story on a huge screen. So the perception, the pictures are large, the graphics are huge, and the sound would be my voice.
Right.
Because a teacher has to involve her words. I have to involve you for you to take interest in my lesson. Your screen is a one-way story.
Yeah. But how are you seeing it shape at a behavioral level? Because you can obviously control it at a school level, but how are you seeing it shape at home? Are you seeing there's an addiction already at age 2, 3?
So parents are giving them a lot of, that's what I hear say, a lot of screen time, which is not advisable, but at the same time they need to balance it out, because everybody around is doing screen, right? So a typical thing would be, okay, Peppa Pig Friday evening.
Yeah.
That's it. There should be more outdoor play, more hands-on, play, peer interaction, all that you need to grow as a human being. Yeah. Screens are a part of your life. There's no question about it. Absolutely no question. So you can't say no.
Right.
But you can limit it.
Okay, Zarna, tell me about a lot of developmental pediatricians that we're speaking to today. They're seeing a rise in learning disabilities in children very early on. They're seeing attention deficit disorders. They're seeing a rise in, behavioral issues. Are you seeing that back at school?
Yes, absolutely. We definitely see this in school, because I feel there's too much going on in the background. From school, they go home, instead of resting the mind, which is already, being used a lot, they are sent to classes after a little nap, etc. So there is reading class, puzzle class, Lego class, painting class, etc. So when you do so much, the mind is at work. When they come to school, they're already overstimulated, and therefore their attention dithers. they're bored. So out of boredom also, they can, behave badly, aggressive behavior, bad behavior, distracted, irritated, tired. I see a lot of children yawning in the morning. 8 in the morning, tiny tots are yawning. So maybe nutrition, oral health, all that has to be looked into over too many, outside classes. Straight from school, I have children going to other classes, which is, I don't know.
Right.
So maybe all of this is affecting them instead of just having them play out.
Right. Interesting that you say that. You also run a parenting mentoring program. What made you realize that it's not the children who need it, but it's the parents? Because I completely love that you're doing this, because I feel like when we do the conscious parenting workshops, it's largely for the parents, because we believe that the parent is one who needs to raise the child. So what do you do in your parent mentoring programs?
So, I'm glad you've asked me this, Mansi, and I'm happy to share my views on this. When I began my career, I began by educating parents, because I had a wonderful mentor who taught me pre-readiness skills and how to teach parents. So I taught parents and then gave them these backup worksheets during the summer season, and where they could work on their own at home. And then came the kids, and then came school. I always knew I wanted to start a school, so for 12 years I worked at home. But this burning desire, now the present situation, I think parents definitely need help. So what I'm doing is I have developed 4 modules. Emotional, which has 2 sessions, then comes social, which is 1 session, motor, 1 session, cognitive, level 1, 2 sessions. If they want to continue with higher cognitive levels, then it's EQ and cognitive, level 2. EQ, cognitive, level 3, because EQ has to be understood throughout.
Right.
Throughout, even at our stage.
Right.
Why is a child behaving like, because it directly affects learning. Directly. I get the parents to understand that the teachers work very hard, and it's your time to source your material. We have loads of libraries and toy libraries, book libraries. Just go out there.
Before we wrap up, I want to do something different. I'm going to throw 6 different topics at you. For each one, I want your top picks, fast, no overthinking. And for all the parents watching, please grab your phones, notepads, pick out your notes and just make notes, because this is going to be absolute gold for you. 10 motor skill activities every child should do before age 5.
Beading, lacing, puzzles, paper tearing, paper crumpling, pegging, pegging, crayoning, sorting, cutting at some stage by 3.5, those plastic scissors, and sticking, painting, all of that.
Lovely. Summer activities for parents who work full-time.
Summer activities for parents who work full-time is let them enjoy the summer, swimming, the beaches, vacationing, and allow them to play at home, just simple play.
Okay. Your 5 favorite children's books.
5 favorite children's books are The Hungry Caterpillar, my favorite. Through Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, we teach the concept of big, medium, and small. Then we have that farmer story, which I love. We have the, which other story can I tell you? The Me Too and the Mango Tree, which is so adorable.
Yeah.
And one last one is that moral story is The Ant and the Dove. So I generally do all these stories which have some moral, some message to give the school, to give the children, because it's a school, I'm a teacher.
Yeah. Okay, the 5 must-dos in the first 5 years.
The 5 must, sorry, can you repeat that?
The 5 must-dos in the first 5 years.
Setting systems. First, you have to set systems for skill sets at this level itself for higher skill sets. 2, values. 3, ground rules. 4, boundaries. 5, love and support at all given times.
Okay. How to get a child who hates reading to love it?
It starts early. What I used to do typically with my children, I'd go back to my kids because that's the example I could give you, is I made a little reading corner. Okay, I had a little tent and I put these fairy lights and I used to dress it all up with these puppets and then go into it like a cozy corner with these little soft pillows and read a book in there. Reading cannot be forced.
Yeah.
It's your environment, it's you, and it cannot be thrust upon.
Yeah.
It evolves, right? And you've got to make it your happy place, your go-to place. And the best way to teach reading is the environment. That is the first step towards reading. What I see, I remember the most. Second, you go to your books, your cards, books, all of that. But your first is your environment. All that you learn is through the environment. That's reading. I tell the parents, that's reading. So the more you experience, more you experiment, more you expose, and then back it up with a book. They love it.
Lovely. Thank you so much. This has been gold for me even after 16 years of listening. This is amazing. And for every parent whose kids are in the formative years, the 0 to 5, this episode is an absolute treasure of how different milestones, different activities, your behavior, your reflection of how you are feeling, your anxiety, all of it is going to be reflecting onto your child, and how this one episode is going to pack in so much for you. So I hope you really enjoy watching and listening to it wherever you are. For parenting tips, celebrity interviews, recipes, conversations with experts, DIYs, and lots more, subscribe to Kidsstoppress now.